Hi, my name is Cameron, and this is Menpathy. Today's idea came from a game night I had at a friend's house a couple of days ago. The game of the evening was We're Not Really Strangers, and if you've never played it before, it's much more of a get-to-know-each-other activity than an actual game, since you don't really win.
Was the real win the friendship we found along the way?
During the third round of the game, I was asked a question that really took me by surprise. Not surprised because it was a hard question, but because it was actually the only question in the whole game where an answer came to mind immediately. The question was, if you could give advice to a younger version of yourself, what would it be? My answer was simple. I would teach a younger version of myself how to listen effectively. You see, young Cameron was actually very well intentioned. He wanted to be relatable and share his own experiences about how he went through something similar, though not exactly the same. So if I were to go back in time and give myself some advice, I would teach myself to be an effective listener using these 3 steps. Step 1. Don't try to give advice or solve your friend's problems. Yes, I am well aware of the irony of giving advice to... While not giving advice seems pretty cut and dry, I first want to lay out some of the dangers if you do actually give advice. Danger number 1. Giving advice to a friend can make them feel like they're stupid. A while back, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and he told me that by the time he was ready to tell people about his problems, he had already thought about every single combination and every single possibility of how it could move forward. So when he would open up about his problem and be received with a, "you should just," he felt like the other person thought he was dumb. Your friends are not dumb, and I promise you, they've been thinking about this a lot. Danger number 2. You offer advice and they don't want to take it. I remember in my younger years feeling like my biggest contribution to my friendships was the advice I could give. I felt a sense of pride, the fact that I could see their issues connected to something that I had similarly gone through, and then tell them what they should do. If you've ever been on the receiving end of advice you didn't explicitly ask for, you can probably guess what happened next. So when my friend would ultimately not take my advice, I would feel hurt. I'd feel a bit resentful. In fact, I would kind of stop caring about their problems because I knew they weren't going to follow what I had to say anyways. There are only 2 types of people who really are in a position to give advice at all, if you explicitly ask for it. The first type has been through exactly what you're going through. The second type is someone that you would consider switching lives with. Even then, it's up for you to discern if that's the step you want to take to move forward. People's problems are far more complicated than they first appear. Typically what happens is we'll share a little bit to see how much are you able to handle. And when our friend demonstrates that they can take on more, we will start actually exploring the root of the issue. If we always respond to that initial symptom as if it's the cause, we're going to be doomed to shallow relationships. Once we accept it is not our job to solve their problems or give advice, we are then ready for step 2, to approach their problem with curiosity and acceptance. There's a really good chance that what your friend has to share with you isn't something you've been through before, or they're responding to it in a way that you wouldn't respond, or they're feeling a way that you wouldn't feel. Responding with acceptance is demonstrating to your friend that no matter what they share, you're going to be there for them and you still love them. When I say curiosity, I'm referring to trying to understand the motive behind what they're actually saying. The why in the words they use without actually saying why. This step can be quite challenging for a lot of people because curiosity can often be associated with prying. Prying being trying to get access to information which isn't necessarily ours to know. The biggest contributor to whether your friend interprets what you're saying as prying or curiosity is going to be your tone. While most of the time, it's probably appropriate to speak with your friends in a light, accommodating, friendly tone of voice, there are times when your tone of voice needs to tell them, I am giving space for you to share. In his book, Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss describes this as the late night FM DJ voice. Slow in tempo, low in pitch, and ending each sentence with a downward inflection. The late night FM DJ voice not only soothes and comforts your friend, but it has the added benefit of helping you relax. Your friend might be sharing something you don't want to hear. So by consciously choosing to slow down and low down your pitch, you are creating an atmosphere where both sides feel comfortable. It is impossible to be both curious and judgmental at the same time. Now that our tone is telling our friend that we are ready to receive what they have to share, we can move on to step 3, which is reflecting back what they're saying to provide a new perspective. Oftentimes when we ask questions, is to get information that's useful to us. However, the questions don't always help the speaker get to where they want to go. While what and how questions are very powerful tools to help move a conversation forward and provoke thought, mirrors, labels, and silence are the fastest ways to encourage flow. Mirrors are essentially reflecting back the last 1 to 3 words the other person says in either an upward inflection to demonstrate curiosity or a downward inflection to demonstrate confirmation. Labels, on the other hand, are using it sounds like, it seems like, it feels like in regard to the emotional subtext of what they're saying. Whether you're using a mirror or a label, immediately follow with silence. Here is an example. Welp, that was the worst day ever. Worst day ever. Fine, maybe not the worst day ever, but it was pretty terrible. It sounds like you were expecting the day to go a little differently. Oh, completely. After weeks of preparation, I finally showed our new client that presentation my boss and I had been working on, and when the client didn't like it, my boss completely threw me under the bus. Under the bus? Yeah, he just started blaming me for every single wrong thing, as if he wasn't directly supervising every step of this project. It seems like what your boss did made you feel really unvalued and completely disrespected. Completely disrespected. When Mr. Nibbles started chewing on the cardboard, he blamed me for covering it in peanut butter.
Either his company sells edible paper products, or Mr. Nibbles is a horse.
So there you have it. By not giving advice or trying to solve your friend's problems, you can approach what they say with curiosity and acceptance and effectively reflect back what they say in order to provide a new perspective. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about communication, coaching, or ways that we can improve our relationships, please hit subscribe and I'll have more things coming your way in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, or in a week. Thank you. Bye.